Hello, art students. So this is going to be just a brief overview of how to do your 1-point perspective practice page and also how to do the 2-point perspective practice page. So remember, when you are working with linear perspective, one of the biggest things and one of the most important parts of linear perspective is that you want to make sure that you are working precisely and neatly. So you want to make sure that you have a ruler, you want to make sure you have a pencil and an eraser, because we will be doing quite a bit of erasing as we are working on these practice pages. Now remember, with 1-point perspective, you have one vanishing point. It's on the horizon line. With 2-point perspective, you have two vanishing points, and they are both on that horizon line. In 1-point perspective, for these shapes that are above my vanishing point, I'm going to be seeing the front, some portion of the bottom, and a side, which is dictated by which side of the vanishing point it is on. For this shape that is right on my horizon line, I'm just going to see the front and a side. For the shapes that are below the horizon line, I'm going to see the front, some semblance of a side, and then the top. So remember, when we are working with linear perspective, our ruler is going to touch the corner and the vanishing point, and we're going to draw that line lightly going back, connecting the corner to the vanishing point. Now, if our shape or our form that we are eventually drawing were to be see-through, we would use the corners that are inside of the shape as well, but because we are drawing solid shapes which are not transparent or see-through, if your ruler or your line would start inside of the shape like that one would, I'm not going to draw that, because we are drawing solid or opaque forms. So then I'm going to line my ruler up and close off that form so that this trapezoid type shape here becomes the top. Just going to darken my lines. And then I can erase the remainder of that diagonal line that I don't need anymore, so that I would end up seeing, once again, the front and the top. On this one and this one, I'm going to see multiple areas. So corner, vanishing point, and I'm going to draw that line very lightly going back. Corner to vanishing point, draw that line lightly. So as with every type of drawing, it's very important that you do draw light lines, because you will be doing some erasing, and it's just always better to get in the habit of drawing lightly so that it's easier to correct those mistakes when you need to. So again, the back is going to close off on this side and be parallel to the front. And then when I get to this diagonal line, it's going to come over parallel to this line, because this part is going to be the top. And then from this diagonal line, it's going to go up to this diagonal line parallel to this line. And then the same thing on the top is going to come back across. So now we're going to turn our ruler so we've got a side and a top. Now we're going to go on the other side here. So side, top, side, and the diagonal lines here become sort of like where the top and the side fold. And then one last one up here. So that there we've got top, and side. So it kind of like is steps, or stairs, I should say. And then I'm going to erase the diagonal lines I don't need anymore. And remember that you want to check every corner. It's a really good idea to go ahead and get in the habit of checking every single corner, because sometimes even though it looks like your line is going to be inside of the shape, it might not be. So go ahead and check like these outer corners and different things like that, even if you don't know for sure whether or not they will actually connect to the vanishing point. Now on the circle, we're going to use what is called a tangent line, which just means it is a line that touches the very outer edge of the circle. So we're going to go from the outer edge of the circle to the vanishing point. So now we've got sort of like a cone, and then it's going to close off with a curve that is parallel to the curve that is on the front, so that it starts to look like a cylinder laying on its side. And it does take a little sort of finagling to make sure that you get that curve as parallel as you can. So draw nice and light and just kind of work at it until you get it. And then once again, erase the remainder of that diagonal line that you don't need anymore. And that would be basically how you would draw all of the different forms. Because remember, when they are flat and two-dimensional, they are shapes. Once we add the depth, they become a form. And we are putting them into forms in perspective by using the vanishing point. So now I'm just going to show you a little bit about the 2-point perspective page. Because remember, you have 2 vanishing points, so there will be no horizontal lines on this one, because when you are working in 2-point perspective, you don't see the front of anything. You just see sides, tops, and or bottoms. So I'm going to start on this line and draw that line back to the vanishing point really lightly. Same thing on this one. Because remember, each line on your page is sort of like the front corner of a building if you were standing on the corner looking at it. So then the next thing to do is to close off those sides with vertical lines that are parallel to the front. So now I see clearly where both of my sides are, and I have to get the top in. And remember, for the top and the bottom, you're going to use the opposite vanishing point. So on this part of my top, I'm going to go from the left side to the right vanishing point. On the right side, I'm going to go to the left vanishing point. And then right here where they intersect is going to become the back corner of the top. So then I can erase the remainder of the diagonal line that I don't need anymore. Which once again is very important to draw lightly, because there is a lot of erasing when you are drawing in linear perspective. So you want to make that easier for yourself by drawing lightly. So then on these two, because they are on my horizon line, I'm not going to see the top or the bottom. On these two, I'm going to see the bottom and the sides. These ones, I will see the top and the sides. Remember, in both types of linear perspective, you will never see the top and the bottom of any form at the same time, nor will you see the left and the right sides of a 1-point perspective form at the same time. On 2-point perspective, you will see the left and the right hand sides. 1 point, you will not, because everything vanishes to one direction. So let me just do a little bit more on this one for you. So this one would be an example of a building that might be diagonal for whatever reason, because you see that corner line is diagonal. We're still going to approach it the exact same way. Going to the vanishing points closest, and then when we go to draw that line that closes off the back, we will just make a diagonal line that is parallel to that front one. To where then this is the right hand side, this is the left side. And even though the whole form is kind of tilted, you can tell that it is in perspective using 2 vanishing points. And then again, I'm going to erase those diagonal lines that I don't need anymore. And then this same one up here is also a diagonal line, but this time we will see the bottom as well. So I'm going to start it the same way that I started the other, where I've got sort of the front corner, and then I'm going to go diagonally towards the vanishing points. And then I'm going to close off both of those sides with a line that is parallel to this front corner that is facing me. So now I've got the left side, I've got the right side, and I've got that front corner. So now I need to put the bottom in here using my opposite vanishing points. So now I've got the bottom of this form, the left side, the right side, and the corner that is facing me. So now I can erase, once again, the remainder of the diagonal line that I don't need anymore. So that would be the basic introduction on how to do both your 1-point and your 2-point perspective practice pages. Now remember, these are due by the end of class on Thursday, and then we will be going over the project a little bit more in depth on Friday.